Good to see you, Jared. I haven't been home, but
I know.
I'll have to
I've
say,
noticed. My Lena's been wondering where your car is.
oh, well, I'll have to come say hi to her when you're out.
Well, we'll probably be out and about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like we are ready to begin.
All right. Ah, boy. Uh, man, usually I'm off my game, but now I feel like really off my game. Um, all right, call to order. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
And um, sorry, I'm trying to all right. All right, librarians report.
Okay, just taking down real quick our attendance. So let me finish making sure I've got everybody present and accounted for. And I will share my librarians report. So hopefully you are aware, you've seen the newspaper articles, you've seen our announcements, maybe you came by the building. We are under construction. The interior of the building is currently being demolished, and they have already started roughing in the necessary electrical work for our new lighting system. So things are moving along quite quickly. Now that demolition and site work has begun, I have a couple of photographs that I want to share with you. Like Jarrett said, it's been a long time since I've hosted a Zoom meeting, so let me make sure that I know how to do that. All right. So here is the first photograph. This is in the children's room. This is the area where the children's storytime area where that story pit was. That has been demolished. I do need to note and bring to your attention that this area is creating some problems for our renovation. We knew that this area had had a significant amount of water infiltration in the past. We had dealt with soggy carpet and squishy floors, so we anticipated that there would be dry rot or damage that needed to be repaired in this area. However, we have found that this area is still actively leaking and taking water in from below ground. And so tomorrow morning, a consultant contracted through the architectural firm who previously worked with us on the other elements of waterproofing the building will be on site to take a look at this. It is a pretty significant problem, and so we are working as quickly as possible to assess the situation. And then, of course, then we can hopefully move towards finding a solution for the problem. But this is really the only area that we've encountered any sort of, major issue or challenges. And so we are trying to look at it in a positive light. We obviously had a problem there, and better to know about that problem than to continue to go on for however many years without knowing that it needs to be addressed. So we're working on that. Let me show you another photograph. So this is the area in the lobby that used to be the entrance to the bathrooms. And so they have started to this week framing out the new restrooms, but you can see that that's where the public restrooms were, and they've been demolished. And then
I think we're still seeing
the other one. Okay, let me close that one. And let's see, it's not going to allow me to switch from photograph to photograph. So let me just quickly move over to the other one. Okay. Hopefully now you're able to see the bathroom picture or what used to be the bathrooms. So demolition in that area has been completed, and they are working on framing out the new restroom. And lastly, I have one other that I wanted to share. This is actually in the meeting room where they are working on framing out some new walls there. So you can see that there's a lot happening in the building. Really exciting work. Out. Okay, so during this stage of construction, library staff are working combination schedules. Several of our full-time staff are spending a part of their week working from home on special projects and planning, collection management, and also doing outreach programs and story times. And in the building, we are offering curbside service and, of course, answering the telephone, continuing to provide reference services as needed. And we've also been doing lots of organizing in the back room and cleaning out. Everything that was in the rest of the building had to be pulled either into storage or into the back part of the library. And so it's been a great motivator to get things cleared up and cleaned out in our workspaces. The roofing project has been completed and our warranty has been certified, so that process is done. And also the lobby heating and air conditioning unit replacement has been completed. That was a side project that we had been working on since early spring, and we were finally able to get that completed with Comfort Flow in October. And so right now, currently on our plate is really just this interior project, and as I said, it's going along pretty smoothly. So that is the bulk of my library report, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Well, since no one's saying anything, I'll just make a comment. If anyone's complained about me, I apologize. They're completely justified in complaining about me, but I want my Christmas books. And I talked to Laura and I was like, hey, can you hook me up with my Christmas books? And she said yes. I haven't gotten them yet because I'm in library jail and I'm sorry. But so I just want to openly apologize.
Okay, thanks, Jarrett. Yeah, we are still processing holds. We've got a fair number of people that are taking advantage of curbside. Not a huge number of people, but we are keeping track. And it is something that is a service that's being utilized. So hopefully you'll get out of library jail and be able to pick up your curbside items soon.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it better if like a book is at Coos Bay Library for me to request it through North Bend? Does that look better with our numbers, or should I just go to Coos Bay and get it?
At this point, whatever is most convenient for you. We will be requesting that the Coos Library Board substitute statistics from the prior year for this period of time. So during the time that the library has been impacted by construction closures, we're going to ask that they use statistics from the previous year. So, you know, it's nice to see you, and our staff love getting to help folks who do want to use the curbside service here. If it's more convenient for you just to pull up and pick up, then we're happy to do that. But if you want the opportunity to browse, then go ahead and go to Coos Bay.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Charlotte.
Hi. So how does it look financially? How are we doing if we run into a huge issue with drainage in that one area?
Yeah, I think we are doing okay. The rest of the project is well within budget. And there have been a few items that I have already compromised on, or that we've kind of made a reduction in the cost. So for example, we are installing a partial wall in the teen area. It's a glass partition. And originally the architect had scoped a particular product, and in discussions with the contractors and then also working with manufacturers on the exact product that we were going to order, not necessarily what the architect had specified, but what's the order going to be placed for. We determined that a much less expensive system is going to meet our needs just as well. So I think, for example, in that area, we're going to save probably about $10,000. That's not probably going to cover the full cost of what it's going to take to repair that area in the children's room, but I am being conscientious about little pieces along the way at which we can kind of cut our costs a little bit. But in terms of the big factors like labor and time, we are well within our expectations. So we should be able to keep things on track.
Is that your full report?
It is.
All
That's
right.
my library report.
Do you want me to ask you about China now or later?
Oh, you can. I'd be happy to talk about that. So I got back into the country late on Thursday, returned to North Bend on Friday. So I'm still actively catching up and getting back up to speed, finding my place here at work so that I can contribute to the construction project. Caitlin did an excellent job while I was away managing that and the move of the materials out of the building. So I definitely want to give her kudos for her hard work on that. The trip to China was an incredible experience. I am really grateful for the opportunity to go, both from the State Library of Oregon and the Oregon Library Association, and then the local support that I received from the city and our library stakeholders to allow me to go. We visited many, many libraries. We saw university libraries, large public libraries, children's libraries, small rural libraries that were just 1 or 2 rooms. We had some really fantastic discussions about library services and how to incorporate technology into kind of day-to-day library services and how to do that within our buildings, which was really interesting. And we also got to have some amazing cultural experiences. We had great hosts. We had so many meals with so many courses. I've never eaten so much seafood in my life. We also got to visit one of their most scenic areas where they produce tea. We got to take a bamboo raft down one of their scenic rivers. It was just an amazing trip. I felt that our host did an excellent job of balancing our experience and sharing, of course, important information about libraries, giving us the opportunity to talk about issues that are important to us and how we manage our collections and our spaces and the types of programs that we offer, with some really meaningful cultural experiences that helped us better understand the context in which their libraries are operating. History is incredibly important to the Chinese people at this point in time. And so it was really interesting for me to get those experiences of visiting museums, going to natural areas of importance, and then getting to see how they incorporate those things into their public libraries through displays and programs. So it was a fantastic experience. And I would recommend it to any librarian in the state without hesitation. It was really eye-opening and I think has given me a lot of valuable new perspectives that I can incorporate both at work and then also into my personal life. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Good.
And I ate some very unique foods as well.
That's sweet. Is there like, I know this is like annoying, but is there like if you could pick like one major difference between their libraries, their public libraries and our public libraries, like what would it be?
I think that they have received a lot more funding from state and federal government to put into their facilities and equipment within those facilities. So even the smaller libraries had sound booths where patrons could access the ebook collection or have private meetings. Most of the libraries that we visited had some kind of electronic display for their ebooks. so that if you walked into the building, you would see this visual display of the cover art from their ebook collection to kind of draw you in. So I think they are doing more to connect people in person in the physical space with what's available through technology. They also had quite a few libraries that had spaces for non-traditional library activities. So they had either music studios or instruments that people were able to play and use, and then kind of soundproof spaces for them to do that in. Depending on the size of the library, it looked differently, but I think that their facilities are really incredible, and definitely they're outpacing us there.
That's interesting. Um, it's just so like what I know is limited, but um we really like, especially like public libraries here, we like really push like access to the internet, access to information in the libraries and whatnot. And from what I know about China, that's not really their MO, you know? So it's just really interesting that like they're investing more in libraries and kind of like see that. I mean, one of it's like cultural too, because like I don't, I love libraries. I believe libraries are a part of the future, but I don't think a lot of people think that, right? Like I don't think like um just through like social media in our area talking when they're talking about I don't know if anything that's been said about like us renovating, but you know, the Coos Bay Library and the bond that they need and everything. Boy, you look about that on social media and like they are like people in our area are not into it. So I mean the bond got voted down twice or something, right? So but then you compare that to what, you know, what's going on over there. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I
Um
think it's hard for people to envision or imagine what a library could be. It's pretty widely talked about in library strategic planning circles that you don't ask the question, what do you want your library to provide? Because people are going to say books. They're going to kind of really stick with that fairly narrow vision of what a public library space can be used for. And so I think what's happened there is that on a higher level, a governmental level, they decided to set the priority of increasing access to books and to increase literacy. And they recognized that they needed to create an attractive physical space to draw people in to those activities. And so what they've done is they've constructed these beautiful buildings that have a lot of light. Many of the newest libraries that we visited had garden spaces or really large atriums. They had a lot of really attractive features and things that you can do within the building that aren't just reading a book. And so they've kind of gone about it from the opposite direction. So rather than saying, hey, will you support us building this physical space for you to be in? They just said, we're going to make the physical space and we're going to make it attractive to people. And they believe that that would draw the readers in. So it's a different approach. And oh, yeah.
You know, I've been in a couple of the libraries that my grandchildren and now great grandchildren use in Washington State, and the children's sections are much more developed. They're really high tech. There's projectors that, you know, put games and things on the floor, and the kids are playing. And there's a lot that is done in other places. It would be very interesting to go look around. So I don't know if I can't imagine it's the only place in the nation doing that. But I'll have to ask my granddaughter if it's brought the numbers up, because she's very involved with her library.
it would be super cool to have part of the library be a community garden. But and I'm dying to ask what it was like to for us to have the election while you were overseas, but I won't. All right. So the library district report.
Okay, so the county commissioners met for a work session about the library distribution on October 14th. I was able to attend that meeting. And after a lengthy discussion amongst the commissioners, in which library directors weighed in, some library stakeholders weighed in, we discussed and we discussed more. The Board of Commissioners ultimately decided to proceed with the originally or previously proposed formula and transition plan. They did have some lingering questions about the distribution of population among the libraries. So what constitutes a library's designated service population? They had a lot of questions about that and have requested that our Extended Services Office follow up with additional information about that. And then, of course, they've asked for periodic updates. And I expect that they will have additional discussion about how things are going during the budget making process. But for the time being, they did decide to proceed with the proposed formula and transition plan that had been previously approved by the Coos Library Board. And that's the district report.
Yippee. All right. Technology fail. All right. Public input.
We do not have any public input today.
New business.
I wanted to say thank you to the board members whose terms are expiring at the end of December. This is the last meeting that we will have. Patrick and Trudy have been volunteering for 4 years now. And I just wanted to say thank you. Both Patrick and Trudy are eligible to apply for a second term on the board. But I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge their contributions and to say thank you for your board service.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick and Trudy.
Yes, thank you.
No, thanks for letting me be a part of it. It's been interesting and learning a lot about how libraries operate and stuff. It's been great. So thank you.
Are we doing a recruitment of new board members?
We are. So that was the next thing on the list. I just wanted to let everybody know that the City of North Bend has posted the application for the vacancies. The goal is to have applications that the mayor can review and appoint a board member at the December council meeting so that we would have a full board in time for our January meeting. The 2 positions that are open are both 4-year terms, and one of them is actually a position that's open to people who live outside the city limits. You have to live within the North Bend School District, but you can live outside the city limits. So that position is the one that Patrick has been filling and doesn't come up as often, but is a little bit different in its requirements.
Yeah, I'm open to filling, running for the position again. If there's someone else, in that unique position that wants to step in, then I'm okay with that too. But I know
Okay.
It's kind of a different sort of board position. So
It is. And I'll check in with you probably next week to see where you are on that and if you need any help getting to that application.
sure.
Good.
Any other thoughts on upcoming vacancies?
Nope, that's it.
Old business.
I do not have any old business. I will say that previously, I think it was Terry had asked to see photographs from the trip. I have not gotten those organized. So perhaps for our January meeting, I'll have some to share.
I was curious, but I didn't want to put any pressure on you. So
I'll be happy to share, but every place that we visited, almost every moment of the trip was a photo opportunity for our hosts. And so there are many, many to sort through, but I will be happy to share some hopefully at our January meeting.
How big of a group were you in?
So there were 3 librarians who went for the first week, and then the second week, a 4th, Wendy Corneliuson, who is the state librarian, joined us for the second week. The other 2 librarians that went with me were Jennifer Cox, who is the Dean of Libraries at Chemeketa Community College, and Ingrid Top Johnson, who works for Multnomah County Libraries and is in their technology department. She actually is working to outfit their maker spaces.
I don't know how you feel about this, but it might be cool to link like a little slideshow onto the library's webpage. Like on the other hand, some people will say, "Gall darn it, sending librarians on junkets to other countries." But on the other hand, some people will say, "What? There are libraries in China? Oh my goodness." So maybe that would be good.
That's an interesting suggestion, Gail. I'll think about that. I know that the OLA and the delegation has a page that we're going to be putting together. And we also are planning to do a presentation at the Oregon Library Association conference. And I think that would also be perhaps a good thing to link to, because it would give some more context to it. So yeah, I appreciate
Cool.
that. Thank you.
Have there been other trips to other places? You know, have there been
So-
other librarians from the state going to other nations and touring libraries? That would just be cool if it was, you know, many places from around the world.
Yeah, there are no other established exchange programs for the state of Oregon for librarians.
Mhm.
The state already had an official relationship with the Fujian province, which is where we visited. I think that there are other industries that have exchanges, and I know the governor's office already had a relationship. The Horner Exchange that I participated in is approaching its 30th anniversary.
Wow.
And there is an agreement, an official agreement between the State Library of Oregon and the Fujian Provincial Library, which is, of course, their equivalent of a state library. And we actually renewed the agreement while we were there. That's why Wendy, the state librarian, participated in the trip, was that we had the official signing and renewal of that agreement. The history of the exchange is that about 30 years ago, there was a man who left money. I believe he was from New Mexico. It was from the Southwest, not from Oregon, but he left funds to libraries across the United States to establish exchange programs. And that is why it has the name that it does. Now, the funding for that is no longer available, and it's currently, the cost is covered by the State Library and the Oregon Library Association, but that is the history of the program.
Great. I had one more question, and that's any implications, or I mean, I'm hearing so much from people in Coos Bay about the library bond not passing, or the levy, and all kinds of really wild ideas and wonderful ideas, and anything that you know of, or
Not that I know of. I have not had the opportunity to meet with Sammy and talk with her about, what their plan is, what their fallback plan was, or what it will be moving forward. And, I've talked with the staff here at our library, and we did have questions leading up to the election. But to my knowledge and understanding, we have not really received any comments about it.
I saw Sammy today actually, and she was full of positivity. So
Good.
just
She
kidding.
she saw our posting for the library board vacancy and asked if she should apply. So
Really?
she's hanging
Is
in
she?
there.
Do you think she's
I don't
going
think
to?
no, I don't. I think she was joking.
Okay.
I'm not sure that
Okay.
she would be, I don't know how that would work,
It wouldn't.
but
It wouldn't
I
work
think she
well.
was joking.
It wouldn't work well. Yeah. All right. Any other comments? All right. Well, I just want to say I love Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure to let everyone know the library will be participating in the city's holiday events on December, first weekend in December, the 7th, December 7th. And we will be hosting Storytime with Mrs. Claus at Books by the Bay.
Yeah.
So you can join us. We're providing books for pancakes with waffles with Santa. And we'll be doing story time over at Books by the Bay. And then we'll be out at the event tent in the afternoon giving away books. So come say hi.
So Jarrett, I just purchased the tickets for my extended family, which is 12 people in Seattle to go to Enchanted Christmas. So, there's that. You can,
Where's Enchanted Christmas?
look up Enchanted Christmas in Seattle, and I think it's in San
Oh.
Jose. I think there's a couple other places, but it's a big maze and it's big, but it's a family
That's cool.
thing to do if you have a large family or a small
I'm
family.
glad that we're still doing the Mrs. Claus thing. The Mrs. Claus is one of the biggest events for our library, right? Like you get like 200 people for that or something. So that's good.
Yeah, we do. We're excited.
All right. Yeah. So Merry Christmas, everybody. To Patrick and Trudy, if you're back, that's great. If you're not, thanks for being on the board and stuff. Yeah, Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. Whoa. Crazy. Any other final comments or anything?
Happy Thanksgiving. Because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Sorry.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Skipping over.
Happy Thanksgiving. Sorry. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone.